Hello and welcome to Imola, the circuit Enzo Edino Ferrari. We're in the heart of the Italian high-performance motor industry. Just down the road, Maranello, the home of Ferrari, and not too far away from Sant'Agata Bolognese, the home of Lamborghini. And of course, the fans have come out decked in red for the Scuderia and also in day-glow yellow for Italy's biggest sporting star on the grid, Valentino Rossi. So we're heading into qualifying. Now this is split between our hypercars, which come out later, and LMGT3, which go out first. And again, qualifying for each category is split into two elements. First, the whole field goes out, and then the top 10 go out in a separate shootout to decide the 10 best positions on the grid. And Anthony Davidson, qualifying is going to be perhaps more important here than anywhere else because overtaking is going to be very tricky in Imola.
Oh, it sure is, yeah. I mean, it's a fantastic circuit to be at, fantastic circuit to view as a spectator and to drive in any type of machinery. But when it comes to overtaking, it comes at a premium.
Ben Keating in the car. Happy birthday, Kathleen, it says on the door. Of course, yesterday, that's had happy birthday aunt, because Anthony Davidson turned a landmark age yesterday. But slightly belated happy birthday to Anthony Davidson. Joining us in the booth as well, Graham Goodwin. And Graham, second race of the championship and the first of a little run of European races, of course, including that big one in France in June.
Yeah, from here in Italy, beautiful weather today, by the way, to Spa on the 10th of May, then the big one, 24 Hours of Le Mans in mid-June, before we go on our travels to Sao Paulo, to Lone Star Le Mans in Austin, Texas, and to Fuji, with the season being completed with an 8-hour race at Bahrain.
And the other voice you will hear down in the pit lane complaining about how warm it is today as opposed to how wet it was yesterday will be Bruce Ioanni, our pit reporter, and he's been catching up with what's been going on after a red flag splattered and slightly fraught final free practice session. The two headline stories of which were the number 12 Cadillac of Hertz Team Jota going off hard on the actually on the second lap of the session. Alex Lynn damaging the right-hand side, the under tray, the nose of the car. That is going back together. And then a little later, only a handful of laps in, Robert Kubica bringing out a second red flag, parking his 83 Ferrari. Now that was an engine failure. He thought initially gearbox, turns out it was engine, so the team have replaced the engine on that car and the gearbox in record time and are currently trying to put all the other bits back on to get out in qualifying. Now, they don't have to go out immediately because luckily for the hypercar teams, it is LMGT3 going out first, and that means that we will have 18 GT cars together. And Anthony, this track is going to be demanding in qualifying. Where are they going to find the speed here in Imola?
Well, let's take a look at the circuit in a little bit more detail. Anti-clockwise, one of 3 this year in the World Endurance Championship. And yeah, let's start off at the first important series of corners down at Tamburello chicane. So turn 2, 3 and 4, critical to get that right in qualifying. It's a fast-flowing chicane. We've seen spins there already in FP3. So definitely can make up time there and here as well in turn 9. Piratella, fantastic fast left-hand corner. Only a few fast corners on this track. That's one of them. You make up time there, and then into Acqua Minerale as well. You're braking and turning at the same time, then re-accelerating on the exit of the corner over the bumpy curbs. And that really is the nature of this track. Fighting the curbs, an old school circuit, staying within track limits as well. Remember, in qualifying, if you do venture over all 4 wheels over the white line on the exit of the corner, your lap time will be deleted, and they're pretty hot on that in the World Endurance Championship. So yeah, there's a lot to play for, and qualifying is important because, like we touched on earlier, Martin, that overtaking in the race is tricky. Now, the hypercar field being more competitive than ever before, it puts extra pressure on the drivers to get it right on the day where it matters. And
I think that's going to be the same here as well in LMGT3. There's different rules for hypercar and for GT. In LMGT3, the bronze graded driver, there must be one at least in each car, has to do the first session. If they then progress into Hyperpole, the top 10, then the silver graded driver, there must be one of those in each car as well, then gets to jump in. So Bernardo Souza, for instance, in the Mustang goes out first. If they progress, it'll be Ben Tuck who does the second part here. It'll be Arnaud Robin who goes out first. Should they progress, Finn Gersitz gets into the car for Hyperpole, and so on. So it's a great opportunity for the bronze drivers to qualify against their peers, not against some superstar ex-world champion or whatever, but it does pile the pressure on. There's not much time, 12 minutes. Luckily in LMGT3, there's not too much of a tyre choice. If it's not raining, then you go for the slick. If it is raining, you might go for the wet. Track has not been declared wet, so the slick it is. So that takes one added sort of fudge factor out of the balance.
Once again, your strategic insight into these things just continues to dazzle me. There is a much more interesting factor. Actually, Davidson pointed out when we get to Hypercar, we'll come into that as to tyre choice. But we are in LMGT3 mode now. It is, remember, the first 10 cars going through to Hyperpole. So if you're watching with live timing, yes, of course, be interested in who's going quickest, but also be interested in who's going 10th, 11th, 12th and downwards.
Absolutely. So that's where you've got to be focusing on this session is, anyone underneath the or on the bubble of making it into the top 10, therefore getting through to Hyperpole. And you'll have the pro drivers in the garage watching their teammates, the bronze and silver drivers respectively, doing their thing out on track, wishing that they can get through, because you might have, oh, that's close for an unsafe release there, but just about behaving themselves. So you might have a feeling there as the pro driver that I've got the pace to win this race. In this car, it feels fantastic this weekend, but you're not going to if you don't even get through to Hyperpole. So you're wishing your teammates here at this stage as the pro driver the best luck in the world, and having given them the best advice in the world to see them through.
Let's just back up a little bit to that moment where we just saw that turquoise Porsche sprint away from the standing start. What he was trying to do was get himself further up the queue. He was just trying to get ahead of at least the racing spirit of Lemon Aston Martin that was immediately in front of him. He didn't manage to do so, but it's interesting that Manthey have split their options. The first form Porsche racing to get out. So the Iron Dames car just sitting there on the apron. Céline Martin not going yet, hasn't even bothered joining the queue. So there's different ideas going on among two cars in the same team. And there's going to be a lot of that going on here as well. How fast you're going to try and push, how early you're going to try and push. And again, of the two Lexi, one is in the queue, one is on the apron. So they're trying to give themselves a little bit of an option. If one gets caught in traffic, hopefully the other one might have a cleaner run.
Well, with 18 cars here in LMGT3, the length of the circuit does allow to have a little bit of breathing space in between, and they don't get really that much affected from dirty air from the car in front. So with the bronze drivers here, this will be the first time they've experienced this track where, or this weekend at least, we were here last year, of course, where you don't have the hypercars buzzing around you, overtaking you left, right, centre, diving down the inside into corners where you're trying to look forwards, but you have to look backwards as well in your mirror. So this is a nice occasion for them where they've got the track to themselves, but you don't want to go tripping over the few cars that are out there in the same category.
Under 1 minute to start LMGT3 qualifying session. Let's remind drivers of the need to respect track limits. Let's see if this all goes smooth and quiet for the whole session.
Well, let's hope so. It needs to be clean. There you can see the United Autosport McLaren garage. One of their cars has joined the queue, the other one on the apron as well. You saw that the Mercedes team have split their
30
strategy.
seconds, under 30 seconds to open pit lane. It will be opened on my voice, even if the light doesn't work.
Keep an eye on the 95 McLaren, I think it was having attention in the garage.
Well, that's in the queue there. We can see that's 95. Yeah, that's 95 in the queue.
Pit exit opens in 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. LMGT3 qualifying has started.
So heading out first is the number 46 BMW, followed by 31. And those are the cars that finished second and first last year here in some very mixed conditions. Race day may not be as dry and sunny as today. Looks as though the Sturm und Drang, or whatever the Italian for that is, that we were promised earlier in the week, may be moving away. We might yet end up with a dry race, but I wouldn't necessarily bet on it. I think what we're not likely to end up with is a race that goes green for the entire 6 hours, Anthony. That seems to be a little bit of a wishful thinking.
If FP3 is anything to go by, or FP1 and 2 for that matter, then yeah, we're in for an exciting race and action-packed in terms of safety cars, cars off, spinning, pointing in the wrong direction. We had it all, didn't we, in FP3?
So Yasser Shaheen second, but heading up the hill in 46 is Ahmad Al-Hati. He's the bronze-graded driver in that car. Should the car make it through, then the fans will be treated to Valentino Rossi shooting for pole in the Hyperpole session. And behind him, Yasser Shaheen in 31. Here is the Iron Dames car, Celia Martin, in the pink Porsche, their turquoise car, driven by Ryan Hardwick. It's not a turquoise Iron Dames car, it's run by Manti. And there you can see on board of Celia, the view from the back of the cockpit. If you're in the passenger seat, that's sort of what you might be seeing, if you were my height at any rate, with your head on the roof.
Celia, the new bronze driver in the if you like, the lead car for the Iron Dames, put in a stellar performance in the European Le Mans Series in Barcelona. Pretty much nailed in a competitive performance that led to a win for the team. So she's found something. Which Celia Martin are we going to see? EMS Celia Martin or the earlier Celia Martin?
Because we had a spin from her, didn't we, in FP3 through the Tamburello chicane, whilst trying to overtake a car or going for an overtaking move down the inside. But hopefully that hasn't knocked her confidence going into this session. And the thing we've got to look at here is obviously no tyre warmers in the World Endurance Championship for both the GTs and the hypercars on this tight, narrow track with slow-speed corners predominantly makes tyre warm-up quite difficult, even on a day like today where the sun is out. So the first couple of laps is about survival, and then building up the speed for these bronze-rated drivers lap after lap, and hopefully looking towards the end of this session, as we often see with them, right at the end, 9.5 minutes to go, we look at the fastest lap coming on the board right at the end.
But the LMGT3 cars have much less of an issue with tyre warm-up, and so actually the first push lap might be a pretty decent one anyway. One lap should be enough to give you decent heat in the tyre. We're right on board with Yasser Shaheen. The Bend is the motorsport complex in Australia that his family runs, so that's why it's the Bend, Team WRT, following the 46 car, which is being driven by Ahmad Al-Hati.
Yeah, his brother's here as well, racing in the supporting Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland series, also with the Bend backing on it, Sam Shaheen. So both the Shaheen boys are here and on track this weekend. Great to see them both. Fabulous place in South Australia.
Looks like he was just getting a little bit of heat in the brakes on the way up to the top chicane there at turn 15. And yeah, just backing out of it, making sure he's got enough space around him. But yeah, the bronze drivers, like I said before, we usually expect them to be getting faster and faster as they go through this session. So sure, a silver-rated driver or particularly gold and platinum-rated drivers would potentially squeeze the performance out of the tyres on the first or second lap. We usually see it takes a bronze driver a little bit more time to build the confidence, especially on such a technically difficult circuit like we have here in Imola.
So Ahmad Al-Hati crosses the line, and 148.9 is the earliest offering, very early days though. For me, gentlemen, he's the man with the biggest pressure of the lot in this session, because on his shoulders lies the opportunity for local hero Valentino Rossi to get into Hyperpole and try for pole position.
Let's see at the bottom of the screen, Ben Keating, second fastest in the TF Sport Corvette. Now that car, 77 kilos heavier than it was at this race last year. Not because they're bad at making cars, but because it was such a powerful performer last year. Now they did win in Qatar, the 33 team, from 13th on the grid. Not 13th overall, 13th in LMGT3, 13th out of 18. So as the times come in, you'll see in the graphic, driver at risk. That's 10th place, currently James Cossium. Hasn't really set a time yet, but down 13 cars out on track at the moment of the 18 in the class. And so we're looking outside the top 10 box as drivers drop out or slip down, you've got to make sure you're in the top 10 at the end of this 12-minute session. We're halfway in already as the first laps are being completed.
Yeah, the BMW has been looking strong this weekend. So too of the two Lexus. Ben Keating will, I'm sure, be as mega as he always is. And keep an eye out too for Ian James in that half of racing Aston Martin.
Here comes Al Harty then in that number 46 BMW as he comes up to the line, the fastest middle sector. And smashes the lap time.
And he bears out what you said, 1.1 up in the first sector, 3 seconds up in the second sector, 5 seconds quicker by the end of the lap. That's him getting more out of himself and more out of his tyre. Ian James 9/10 back, but the Heart of Racing Aston goes second, and Ben Keating, the time he's looking to beat, 1:43.7. That is a moving target. Depends on who has just set the time. Now he improves a little, but he's still 3.3 seconds back.
He lost it all, it seemed, in that final sector, so I don't know what happened there for Ben Keating, but rides the curbs nicely through the Tamburello chicane.
The second Corvette, by the way, briefly goes third with Tom Van Rompuy, but he's just shuffled back by Codis ASP's Lexus 78 in the hands of Arnaud Robin.
So the Hyperpole target now has shifted to a 1:47 as the previous car just crossed the line. 47.5 is that Hyperpole target to beat, and he goes second fastest overall this time. So yeah, the times, as we expected, tumbling, coming at you thick and fast.
Last free practice session this morning was the driest and the warmest of the lot, and actually the Ferraris were second and third quickest, but a Lexus, the 78 Lexus, was the fastest car, so not a surprise to see the Ferraris going quickly. And don't forget, if you watch our full access programs, the Fly on the Wall documentary series after every race, you'll be able to see what happens within the garage during qualifying as well as during the race. The one from Qatar is already up online, 300,000 views already. And the one from this race weekend will be up in the first week of May. So Team WRT 46 car stays at the top, 21 second. Heart of Racing third, Arnaud Robin, the 78 Lexus.
Looking good so far.
74 thousandths up, 1500ths of a second up. How's he going to do?
Coming down to the tricky braking zone. Remember, ABS in these cars, the anti-lock braking system. So you're not going to see any smoky lockups, but you can still outbrake yourself and run out wide. But he navigates his way through that tricky double left-hander of the Ravazzas.
We see him come to the line. Ryan Hardwick goes third quickest at the moment as we wait for Robin.
Yeah, Hardwick under investigation for crossing the pit exit white line at the beginning of the session. Arnaud Robin third fastest, François Heriot second quickest still.
That target time now is down into the mid-45s, so it's just dropping very rapidly indeed. Good lap here from Heriot.
And it's not that the fastest lap is getting quicker, it's that the 10th fastest lap is getting quicker. Heriot stays second, and you can't afford not to be out on track. We ride on board with Sebastian Gattuso in the 88 Proton Ford Mustang, half a second off the fastest time.
Minor correction for you there. You're right, François Heriot stays second, but he had to regain it from Darren Leung, who went third on the bubble now. 10th is Derek De Boer of the Racing Spirit Le Mans, Aston Martin, but he drops down with an improvement there from Bernardo Souza in the Proton number 77 Mustang. And we'll tell you in just a few moments just which cars at the moment are below that bogey line.
So Gattuso up to 5th from 15th, and that shows you how a good lap will work. The Iron Dames 2.5 seconds back, the 87 Codis Lexus 2.3 seconds back, but 1.98 is 10th place, 1.98 off the fastest lap. So it's not matching the fastest lap, it's being in the top 10. Does Derek De Boer have something in the Aston Martin, car number 10? We're looking at him now, out of Ravazza 2, short sprint to the line.
Meantime, the 77 Proton Mustang drops out of the top 10 with an improvement from the 54 Ferrari. The difference, by the way, between 10th and 12th, less than a 10th of a second.
And you're not seeing many personal bests from the last two drivers anyway, none on their last couple of laps, but here are some personal bests. The green sectors popping up here as we ride on board the number 87 down the hill in towards Ravazza 1, just misses the apex slightly. You need ideally a little bit more curb than that. and use all the curb available on the exit and the run to the line, which is now a 1:42.7.
In the drop zone, 10th place, 54, the Vista AF Ferrari. Also, potentially, 59, United Autosport's James Cottingham had his last lap deleted for track limits. That drops him down into 10th place. 54 has gone down, 87 moves in.
Yeah, Rescue, a good lap there. Meantime, just want to mark a new fastest time of the session for Ahmed Al-Hati. He's looking to nail in that place for Valentino Rossi in Hyperpole. He'd be a very popular Romani right now.
On board with Yasser Shaheen in the 31 BMW. 46 has bailed, so Ahmed Al-Hati into the pit lane. Why is he doing that a lap early? Because he's definitely going to be in the top 10, and the car will sit in the pit lane.
Yasser Shaheen into the top 10, moves up to 8th.
Both BMWs are in at the moment. 87 Lexus is in the danger zone. 59 McLaren's already been dropped out.
Ben Keating is not in the top 10 at the moment. He is on a road to improve at the moment. This could be good enough for Ben Keating.
Well,
the car that's most likely to lose out to Ben is that second Lexus right now.
Well, yep, 87 is the one in the drop zone.
He was a bit wide. He was a little bit wide on the exit of Ravazza 2. He had to back out of it before getting back on throttle. What's it going to be? He's got a 1:44.4 to beat for the Hyperpole target. Can Keating do it? Oh, 15th.
What about Celia Martin? She looked like she was well inside in sector 2 as well. She's coming rushing to the line. You really shave the barriers there. Does she make it in 11th? Not enough yet.
Still got another lap. This is the last lap.
Checkered flag will be out in 2 seconds, 1 second, checkered flag, so these laps count. That one is the end of the session for that Lexus. That's the end of the session for that Ferrari.
Thomas Floor just makes it in there, into the top 10, but this is risky stuff for him.
Plus, is Yasser Shaheen out at the moment. The gap was between 10th and 11th, 0.026 of a second. They're the margins between Hyperpole and out.
James Cottingham, if this lap is clean, it could be enough to put him in. He's lost the last 2 laps, I think, for track limits in this United Autosports McLaren.
It looked like he just lost the rear a little bit there at the top chicane, did Cottingham. Can he make up this time down the hill towards Ravazza? So 2 personal best sectors for him at least. And tips the car in nicely. The car reacts well, but ideally a little bit more curb taken. He gets that right in the second one, and again losing the rear. The rear is just starting to give up now at this length into the session. This is it, coming up to the line, 1:44.3 to beat. 15th at the moment, and goes P5. Great lap. Yes. He gave it everything there, didn't he?
Excellent. What about Derek de Boer in the number 10, Racing Spirit of Le Mans, not Le Mans, Le Mans, a lake in Switzerland.
No.
Does not find an improvement. Celia Martin is not improving on her previous best, but it's sector 3 that cost her.
She could still make this, and she's going to bail it out. She knows she's off the bubble.
Keating bailed it out. You saw the dust flying up. He was just in front of her on road, I think, and yeah, he made a mistake in that last couple of corners, so he bailed and pitted as well. So yeah, disappointing run there for Iron Dames and for Ben Keating in that Corvette.
Well, what that means with that last minute improvement there from James Cottingham, falling out of the top 10 at the death was the number 54 Vista AF Corsa Ferrari.
Well, we said, didn't we, when we saw him go P10, we knew it was too much of a risk.
And last year's winning number, the 31 BMW, 12th place. They don't make it through either. Saw the 95 McLaren go by the checkered flag. So this is on the way in.
So we look for the oversteer just on the exit here. Well, there we go, that second curb. Combined with trying to get on power, that's what we saw from the off. It looked more dramatic off-board, didn't it? But he gave it absolutely everything on that.
Really, I was chatting to Yasser Shaheen this morning, and he was talking to Marino Sato, his teammate, and showing a going-away shot through Variante Alta and talking about the damping on the car, the spring and damper combination, not giving them the off-curb traction that they need.
The debris down at turns 2 and 3. That is the overall classification from qualifying. They are the 10 cars progressing through to Hyperpole. It's the Team WRT 46 BMW, the 21 Vista AF Corsa Ferrari, 78 Lexus Mercedes ASP, then the 2 United Autosports car, the 27 Heart of Racing Aston Martin, fabulous qualifying performance from Stefano Gattuso in the 88 Proton competition Ford Mustang, then the Montai First Form Porsche, a Codis ASP second Lexus, and TF Sports 81 Corvette.
Is that the first time a Mustang has been in Hyperpole?
I don't think so. I think we've had it once before.
Okay, okay.
A dejected Ben Keating walks away from that Corvette there.
Not surprised, I think.
Ah, that's what happened. I wonder what... I wondered at the time how, on that final lap, how he didn't improve any sectors. So that was early on in that. That was down at the Villeneuve chicane.
I think he's unsurprised. It doesn't mean he's not disappointed that they haven't got the performance. Yeah, big oversteer moment. Oh, there we go. All right, so neither Corvette makes it through. I beg your pardon, no, Tom Van Rompuy does in the 81 car, so 33 does not. And actually, Van Rompuy's car is heavier than the 33 car as well. So that's over 80 kilos heavier than it was at this race last year. And don't forget, last year, Tom Van Rompuy put the car on pole in Qatar. That's what I'm being told. Oh, hello.
You've been on that one,
I have not, indeed. Running joke, for those of you who are new to the championship, no. I'm not even sure if our producer Jason has been on the blimp as well, but no, yes he has. No, I haven't either.
It's absolutely brilliant.
I imagine so.
Life-changing, I'd say.
I think life-changing. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, but you know, there's enough hot air coming out of this guy to our left anyway. That he's fine.
Now I've got silver status. Maybe I'll no, maybe I won't. Anyway.
The scenes down at Iron Dames, and as I say, tomorrow's another day, and it makes your life a little bit harder being far down on the grid on this particular track. But, you know, so much happens in a 6-hour endurance race that you rarely look back to qualifying, to be fair, and say, that's where our weekend went wrong.
No. And there are 18 cars in both fields, and we know that only 10 get through to Hyperpole. So almost 50% of the cars know they're not getting through into Hyperpole. That's just a stat. Well, Ryan Hardwick heads off, but the fastest car was this man, Oman's Ahmed El Harti.
Ahmed, you just did a really good job. You pushed the car into Hyperpole for Mr. Rossi now, so you must be delighted.
Absolutely, I'm extremely delighted. You know, I think it's the first time we qualified in the actual qualifying in P1 with the BMW, so for me it's amazing, but also very proud. And we're here at Imola, we're in Italy, and for me to be able to give Vali the car for Hyper is the maximum I can do, you know, and I'm really excited. The car feels good, and I'm really hoping for a great weekend this round here at Imola. Imola has been kind to me, so you know I love this place.
Okay, good luck. Very well done so far.
Thank you so much.
I'm trying to think who started on pole here last year. But Ahmed El Harti has been a pole sitter before. Ben Keating, the most successful GTE and pole sitter.
It might be a bit of... he's got to be right up there. My guess is
right
Paul Della Lana, because he was there for a long time. But it's one for us to dig into the stats for later.
Well, that's history, of course. LMGT3 is a lot easier because we're only in race 10 of LMGT3. So 10 fastest cars go through, and now we up the stakes because this is for pole, not just to move through into Q2 or Hyperpole as we have. And also, we give them less time. There's only 10 minutes on the clock, and we don't shorten the circuit. So, Anthony, there is more pressure on the silver drivers now because they've got less time to get the job done, and there are no get-out-of-jail-free cards.
This is what they've been sitting waiting for, though, as well. They're all excited that their bronze driver and pleased to be in this position. You know, the bronze driver did the job, handed over the car, new set of tyres goes on, and you're starting from a clean sheet. You're up against... You're
under 30 seconds to open pit lane.
You're up against all the other silver drivers as well now. And they're the scenes down at VistaJet AF Corsa.
Yeah, with his back to us was...
Pit exit will open in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hyperpole for LMGT3 has started.
So heading out first is the man they've all come to see here, Valentino Rossi in the 46 BMW, first man out on track.
Well, confirmed, by the way, you can't correct, the only other pole position in GTM, in WC for Ahmed Al-Hati was indeed Spa in the final year of GT-EAM in the Aston Martin from TF Sport.
Yeah. That was the one where we were setting up the Sarah Bovey versus Ben Keating battle, which continued all the way through 2 full seasons, and Ahmed came in and blitzed them both. So heading out then, we saw Valentino Rossi, James Cottingham. He won't be in the McLaren. That will be Sebastian Bode. In the 46 car, though, is Valentino Rossi.
Well, this is going to be the one to watch, isn't it? This is very much the car and very much the man, and an awful lot of people here have come to see. Worth, as we just get into the first moments, to tell you who the silver drivers are aboard these 10 machines. 21 Ferrari will be in the hands of Simon Mann. Zach Robichon is in the 27 Heart of Racing Aston Martin. Valentino Rossi in the 46 BMW, of course. Sebastian Boe in United Autosport's 59 McLaren. Finn Gersitz from Germany in the Acodis ASP Lexus, the 78 car. TF Sport's 81 Corvette in the hands of Rui Andrade. Clemens Schmidt in the other Lexus, the 87 car. 88, the Ford Mustang. Gianmarco Lavorato aboard that car. And Monti first form will have Ricky Perra. Another Italian driver in the 92 Porsche, and finally the 95 United Autosports McLaren in the hands of Sean Gelael.
Yeah, but yada, Valentino Rossi.
but Sean Gelael, remember, from pole position. Could he do a double pole here?
Yeah.
He was pole position, his first in his WC career last time out, but now we see Valet on the first of his flying laps.
What a privilege for him to be able to drive such machinery in front of his home crowd. You know, Al-Hati set it up, he's teed it up for him, and now he's out there. Nice clear track around him as he heads towards the Villeneuve chicane, over the curb on the left, change direction to the right, use all the curb on the left-hand side, creeps up the hill towards the Tosa hairpin at turn 7. It looks pretty clean so far. As you exit that one, it rises up again towards Piratella. Fingertip stuff through the right-hander. Don't want to scrub any unnecessary speed off the car there. The nose tips down as you're on the brakes, and then up and over the crest. Use the curb on the right-hand side. The bumps come at you thick and fast before Acqua Minerale. Down through the gears, keep turning right, pinch it in a little bit more over the curb on the right and the left as you're now on throttle, traction control doing its thing. The car squirming around underneath you. Then into the top chicane, Variante Alta. Smash the right curb, then the left of those yellow sausage curbs. It's a rough ride. You really feel it from inside the car. You get shaken all over the place, head going everywhere. Then you refocus as you drop down the hill further towards Ravazza 1. A tricky braking zone. Use the curb on the right-hand side. He's got the car in all the right places here as Valentino Rossi. And be patient with that final proper corner, I'll call it, because you've got more coming up, but they're easily flat out. Take the shortest line of attack through that one, and that's a lap of this brilliant racetrack. And I'm sure his eyes are on the stalks at this point. He sets a 1:43, and he's carrying on pushing on the next lap.
Yeah, the drivers love it, the fans absolutely love it. We love coming here, and that's a great lap to start off this session from Valet.
And interesting to see, he gave himself plenty of room for manoeuvre coming out of places like Variante Alta, barely onto the curbs. This is a track that he knows well. He's had lots of success here on 2 wheels. He was second here last year. The 46 car was second to the 31 BMW. And of course, one of those winning drivers from last year, Sean Gelael, is no longer in the BMW. He and his teammate then and now, Darren Leung, are in the 95 McLaren. So the sister car to the one we ride with now, Sebastian Boe.
So Boe taking a bit of a different approach to Rossi. As you can see, he's weaving around a lot before the top chicane, still trying to get some temperature into those Goodyear tyres, whereas Rossi was just committed to getting that first lap on the board.
One of the doctor's greatest advantages was being able to feel tyres on 2 wheels, perhaps even more critical than on 4. Contact patch the size of a credit card. Sebastian Boe.
He's going to open his lap up proper now. P4 at the moment. But Rossi improves. See, here we pick him up now, bottom of your screen. Purple middle sector, and the fastest that he's done through the first sector.
And whether the car doesn't like the curbs and he's staying off them, or whether he's just being conservative with the line to make sure the lap counts. 0.8 of a second quicker. He remains at the top. Manthey in second place. Don't forget, last year pole position in LMGT3 went to 92. It went on to win the championship 3/10 back. So he improved, but not as much as Valle improved.
It was a big improvement for Valle in the final sector of that lap. Not so good from Ricky Perra, but still stays second. Leverato here. It looks great.
Good, yeah. So he's 2 1,000ths behind just in the middle sector by that point in the lap versus Rossi's fastest. Now we know Rossi put together a stonking final sector. What can he do as he crosses the line? It's only enough for second place, 3/10 down.
Only from a Mustang.
But watch this car though, it is the Lexus that's on a real tear here.
Yeah, almost a 10th and a half up by the mid-sector of the lap.
But lost half a second to go 1200s back.
Keeps an eye on Clemens Schmidt in the other Lexus though, because that's another car on a real tear that looks to be pace in the Japanese car.
Rossi's had his lap deleted for track limits there.
Wow.
So that's his fastest lap gone, but what can Schmidt do now as he comes round that final kick to the right-hand side? He's well up by the middle point of the lap. What's it going to be as he crosses the line? Goes from P10 to P1 for now.
By 0.35 of a second. That's a mighty improvement. Start of racing, Aston Martin in the hands of Zach Robichon. Very quick driver indeed.
Yeah, Robichon up as well in the middle sector. P7 at this point. And looks pretty good on the exit of Rivazza 1. And a nice clean exit as well out of Rivazza 2. So now you're wishing for all the power you could possibly get from that engine, that V8 engine, as you head down to the line. P7 to P2, a good lap.
Great stuff. Zach Robichon, a good effort there with 0.25 a second. And that pushes, of course, Valle down to third at the moment off the lead row, the front row of this grid. Pushing hard, Sean Gelael at the moment. He is in 7th place. It's a good lap, but not up on the time at this point.
Well, his lap was deleted.
Cancelled.
Yeah, that one's gone. And with 2.5 minutes to remain, or 2 minutes, 10 seconds remaining, he will get another lap. And the team have to be on the radio here saying that lap is gone. You're going to have to refocus, do it again, but keep it clean.
Valentino Rossi on his current lap is very close to provisional pole pace. There's a long way to go here.
Clemens Schmidt, the fastest man.
Simon Mann
losing his lap. Simon Mann goes third. Incidentally, best qualifying result ever for a Mustang has been 4th at Le Mans, 6th anywhere else.
So Rossi had his previous lap. That's a big Rossi. He's collected it. That was lucky for Rossi at least, because we don't want any yellow flags for his lap, because he's now coming into the final couple of corners. He's only a 10th down on the fastest lap set. That was within the white lines. I didn't see the rest of the lap, of course, but so far so good for Rossi. What's he going to be as he crosses the line? He's P4 at the moment. And he goes fastest. What a final sector.
What a big improvement. 1 minute still to go.
What's he doing in that final sector that nobody else has managed to unlock so far? But we're going to take another look at this fantastic slide from Robichon and the out of turn 3. Look at that, right over the curb. The rear was losing grip already, even before he turned it in. That's brilliant car control.
Keeping an eye, by the way, gentlemen, as Valentino Rossi tops the times, 47 seconds to go. Clemens Schmidt is 2/10 up on that schedule after the first sector.
Here we go then. Acqua Minerale takes the curb on that first part, and the second part, a nice clean exit, but the lap's been deleted already.
Yep.
Oh my.
So it must have been the exit out of Villeneuve chicane maybe, or out of, maybe even out of Tamburello.
And with only 20 seconds remaining, that will be it.
Let's have a look. That's it.
Oh, was it?
Well, there wasn't chalk dust, but there was definitely gravel.
To me, it looked like he had at least one tyre within the white lines, but maybe a different look at it.
Yeah, well, maybe a different corner. What about the McLaren? Sebastian Bode, half a second back. Valentino Rossi only, look at Rossi, how close he is to his current fastest lap. He's only 93 thousandths off.
Watch this, watch Rossi, watch Zach Robichon. They're all on competitive laps right now.
Bode's going to take the checkered flag, and their starting position does not improve, so it'll be row 5 of the grid currently. Zach Robichon, there's Rossi. Is he going to go any quicker? No, 2800s slower. His current time is the fastest. Zach Robichon is currently 3rd. Not a better first sector from Robichon, a much better now. Second sector. It's this, the last shout for pole from Heart of Racing. Comes across the line, does not find the improvement.
Yeah, stays P3, and we know that the strength of Rossi's final sector was going to always be hard to beat. They're celebrating already. They feel like the job is done.
I think they are probably right.
Well, Simon Mann.
Yeah, Mann is he's less than 2 tenths away by the midpoint of the lap.
Yeah, but he's getting further away than he was at the beginning of the lap. What about Sean Gallale?
Yeah, he's in the window as well, but it is 2 tenths that needs to be found in a tricky final sector. That's Sean Gallale.
He aborts that lap, so now eyes focused to Simon Mann. Here we go.
Well, that's not Simon Mann.
Not Simon, no.
We're waiting for the 21 Ferrari. That is 78th in Gersitz. Doesn't find an improvement. Simon Mann behind him. That was the Ferrari we saw getting very sideways in the Tamburello chicane.
Oh no, lost more time. 6 tenths down by the time, so stays P4. And yeah, not a shiny final sector, and that is it. Job done. And now they can really celebrate. What a fantastic day.
Great stuff. Yeah. That's a fairy tale headline, isn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely is. Fantastic day for the Car 46 crew at WRT. And our Harty did his job. He teed it up nicely for the doctor to take to the wheel. And wow, what a performance. Wasn't put off by the track limits, and the car just seemed to have the pace as well. That's the most important thing. Looking for tomorrow's race, the car kept consistent the whole way through that session.
And let's call it a full team performance. You were saying about the role of the professional driver in coaching these two guys through this, but both drivers in the 46 topped their sessions and did so pretty convincingly. 3 tenths per second in this company is quite the gap. And
it's also worth reminding ourselves that Kelvin van der Linde is new to that crew this year, because for the last 2-3 seasons, Valentino's been racing with Maxime Martin. So Kelvin is kind of bedding himself into this group.
He's new to BMW this year.
Yes.
You know, it is, as I say, a really excellent full team performance.
I'm looking forward to the celebrations already.
Oh yeah.
From Valentino Rossi. I spoke to him here last year actually. I said, all right, apart from Le Mans, you want to, this has got to be the race. Yeah, absolutely. Even to get a podium here, he said, would be one of the highlights of my whole career. I was quite sort of surprised by that, but he is loving this.
Well, they had the podium last year. It was a BMW 1-2-31, the Victors 46 in second place. I wonder how many pole positions Valentino Rossi has had at Imola. I should have Googled that. There's so many things you think of in the broadcast I should have Googled before. We didn't, but yeah. Ahmed Al-Harty put the car right at the sharp end in the first sector, in the first session, and Valentino Rossi in Hyperpole claims pole position on 4 wheels for BMW.
He's had 6 pole positions at the Imola circuit across his Grand Prix motorcycle racing career.
Okay, on which? How many on Yamahas? How many on Aprilias?
I'm sorry, that's where my Google searching stops.
All right, so there we go. And a new helmet livery for this weekend as well. That is going to be a big fan favourite, no question about that. I mean, we talked about it last year, didn't we? You know, in the fan zone, each of the manufacturers has got a merchandise stall. Valentino's got 8 around the track. So, yeah, there are Italian brands and there are Italian brands, and Valentino is the Italian brand. Yes, the F word brings lots of eyes to the championship, but 46 brings at least as many, and he must be absolutely delighted with that, because again, it's not Ahmad putting the car on pole. He played his part equally as importantly.
Oh, the smile on Ahmad's face is as wide as Rossi's, because he knows that it's a proper team effort, and yeah, it's a nice moment when you can share that feeling with a teammate in WEC.
I am with James Cottingham at United Autosport. James, are you happy or delighted? You made it to Hyperpole, and looking at the Qatar last race, you were fighting for the win until the very last lap. Now it looks a little bit less competitive, but maybe for the race it's still good.
Yeah, certainly. Looking back at last year, this was our most difficult circuit pace-wise. So we came here knowing that perhaps this is a circuit that doesn't suit the McLaren the most. And of course we have the ballast for the podium. So yeah, my aim was just to get through to Hyperpole, which nearly didn't happen. So just on my last lap, I managed to get from P13 to P5, which took everything I had. And then Sebastian did a great job. You know, like, I think it's a solid place for us to start, and it's a long race. You know, we want to be safe.
Seb, how was it?
Yeah, this is difficult because we are only FP3 to practice the quali run, the Hyperpole run. So James will have a very great job in qualifying, and yeah, it's a little bit difficult for me. So the race is long; it's 6 hours, and I come back in the top 5 during the race, and I hope the podium.
Good target. That seems to be a good target. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Well, that's the overall times from Hyperpole, Team WRT's 46, and Valentino Rossi on pole position here at Imola with a 1:42.355, 0.3 of a second ahead of the 87 Lexus in what was an engaging, short but engaging Hyperpole session.
Oh, we seem to... It's all over before we knew it with that one. It's yeah, now looking to the hypercar category, but that was proper excitement the whole way through.
Great part of that was, I mean, you saw the joy on Aman Al-Hati's face, didn't you? That he knew he'd done the job he had to do here, and he gave him the car in great nick, and he was on it straight away, Valentino Rossi.
Well, what proves the job that both drivers did in that car, in car 46, is the fact, you know, where was the other car? And if you're in the other BMW car crew, you must be looking on thinking, well, we know the car's got it.
Yeah, 46 qualified 3rd last year, 31 qualified 4th, and they ended up 1st and 2nd in the about-face order. But you're absolutely right. You know, you look at the other side of the garage and you're going, okay, why haven't we got that?
And that's when it really hurts.
Yeah.
So we look now to Hypercar, and these are the tyre selection that they have. No wets today, no blues, but it's all about the yellows and the whites. So the white, the soft tyre, yellow, the medium. So the medium seems to be, from our understanding, speaking to some of the teams, the medium tyres, like we have here on the Toyota, seems to be the tyre of choice. Now, you can mix and match in Hypercar. You can put whatever order of whatever tyres you want on at any time, but in Hyperpole, it has to be the soft tyre.
Nick, track temperature is still at 32, so I guess it's we're gonna be on target with only out, warm, and then push.
Yeah, copy that.
So I expect you to start with 28 degrees, and then first target is 40, then 55 front, 60 rear, and then ultimate target is 70 for first push front and 75 rear. This is 15 seconds to enter work lane.
Now, another factor is that the tyres you use in the first period of qualifying, you must race on. The ones you use in Hyperpole must be the softest available, and you only use them in Hyperpole. Now, this was earlier in free practice 3, right at the beginning of the session, Anthony.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what tyres you're on if your car takes you for a ride like this one towards Rivazza 1. This was a scary moment for Lynn. Cold tyres, like you say, Martin. And just getting up to speed, and maybe getting up to speed a bit too quickly. The brakes grabbed on the rear, as far as we can understand. You always have to give the driver benefit of the doubt with the hybrid systems that they have, the fly-by-wire braking. So yeah, that was a scary moment, but great to see both of the Jota Cadillacs out here in qualifying. A great turnaround and recovery.
Now, the other car that there was a question mark over was the 3rd Ferrari, the yellow 83 AF Corsa car, the privately entered car that had an engine let go a few minutes in after the first red flag.
Under 30 seconds to open pit lane.
And that is not yet out, but let's hear from the team.
So the Cadillacs are on medium, Porsche on medium, both Toyotas on medium.
All right, so there is Robert Kubica. He wasn't in the queue, but they have made it out of the garage.
3, 2, 1. Pit exit is now open for qualifying of Hypercar in Imola.
But that's impressive work, both by Hertz Team Jota Cadillac to rebuild the number 12 car, which needed a full right-hand side of suspension and the floor and the nose and various other bits and pieces, and to be perfectly squared up. And by the 83 car, because an engine change means everything behind the driver's tub is off, new engine in, whole car rebuilt as well. So, and they had to make sure that all the electronics worked as well after that underbody fire. So
I was mildly confident that we would see this car that we ride on board with out in qualifying. I was sure that car could make it through, but I'm very surprised and impressed by Ferrari, the number 83, with that smoky, fiery exit that we had quite late in the session in FP3. That they're both back out there.
Two Cadillacs nose to tail on coal tires. What could possibly go wrong, Anthony?
Well, yeah, usually not much, Martin, but if you remember Qatar, then
and if you
it's
don't,
a little bit embarrassing.
And if you don't, after qualifying, you could go to the YouTube channel of the FIA WEC and watch not only what happened in Qatar between the two Cadillacs, no spoilers, you should have seen it by now, but also the stony cold reaction, and that is all online after qualifying.
So the dangerous one in the queue, let's say, are Aston and Peugeot. They should be quite ahead with the gap we do.
Don't know about dangerous, but potentially, how do we put this politely, not quite as fast as our car.
But able to take the pace out of a lap, I think is what that means.
I wonder about the Peugeot, because they were entertainingly fast in free practice 3. We had a lot of conversations at lunch, Anthony, about the possibility of teams putting on soft tyres for the first session, which we then will have to race on. But then if you can get into Hyperpole and stick the car right at the front of the field somewhere and then start it on those soft tyres, it's so hard to pass it, that might be a strategy. Did anybody gamble like we thought we might?
Well, we heard one of the teams, it was Ferrari, filling in information to their driver, to Kubica, wasn't it? Telling them about which tyres everyone's on. It seems like most of them, I haven't got the data quite yet, but we're stand by on that one. I can see that both Peugeots are at least on the medium tyre, as I think most other teams are. You see the yellow sidewalls. So I think what's happening here is that the softer tyre chosen by Michelin, they're the ones that choose which tyre compounds they bring to every given circuit. We have all three available, by the way, at Le Mans, but only at Le Mans. Hit the rest of the World Endurance Championship, it's just 2 compounds. So Michelin stipulate which compounds they bring. Now, last year was cooler than this race weekend in general. So I think the teams, and Michelin included, felt like they were needing the soft tyre last year. It's a little bit hotter this time around, so I think the medium is the one to be on. And that's why they're probably, even in qualifying, trying to get through to Hyperpole, they've all chosen the mediums.
Well, somebody at home is going, well, why don't they just give them the mediums and the hards then? Well, the answer is they haven't brought the hard tyres. They had predicted the weather would be similar to last year, and they brought the soft and the medium, so the hard is not an option because they don't bring tyres they're not going to use. Now then, another car that was quite surprisingly competitive last year, given how disappointed the drivers had been after Qatar, was BMW's Hypercar, and they were quick and very competitive in free practice as well. Could we see BMW on pole in both classes?
Well, they've got plenty of room here, the 15 and the 20. It is Dries van Tor, as it most often has been, brought the 15. He's gone quickest, but it's something 5 seconds off the qualifying session best of last year so far. Robin Freins is in the Sister 20 car, and they've got room to play with. They've got clear track ahead of them at the moment as they improve.
So fastest lap at the moment, Dries van Tor with a 35.7 on the board. Just to put that into context, Last year's pole position time was Fuoco with a 1:29.4. So there's a lot of improvement to come still from these tyres as they continue to heat up.
No soft tyre gambling. All of our lunchtime chatter was of no avail. They've all gone for a sensible choice that they're going to have to race. So on board with Robin Freins.
I think we are going to have a moment in just a moment or two. I think we're going to see a Valkyrie at the top of the timing screen for just a short while at the very least, because it's a great lap underway from Marcus Sorensen at this stage.
As they all find their feet and get these cold tyres fresh out of the pits up to temperature. Yeah, you'll see a few ups and downs on the order before we really get going.
So Robin Freins across the line, and right behind him, Marco Sorensen, sounding, if not exactly looking, like an early 90s V12 Ferrari.
Goes second at the moment, but as Ant quite rightly says, we're 5 seconds off session-topping pace from last season here. Different weather conditions.
So we heard from Nick de Vries's engineer, didn't we, talking about tyre temperatures, and they've got a specific target of temperature to then release and unlock your lap. So he said a couple, maybe 1 or 2 warm-up laps, build them up nicely but without scrubbing the surface too much, build the temperature up internally, and then we'll go for a lap. So you can see here, one of the Toyotas just dropping back, Ryo Hirokawa finding a gap there, and now surely this will be a lap where he really leans on it for all it's worth.
Now we're beginning to see times really coming. Dries van Tor with 1 sector to go, over 3 seconds quicker than his previous best lap time. So this is where the pace is coming. Nico Veroni at the moment goes top, but that's not going to be an ultimately competitive lap time for the top of the times.
And that is the 99 Proton Porsche of Nico Veroni. Here is Dries van Tor right on board in the number 15 BMW. And as you rightly said, Graham, a long way up.
Yeah, 2.1 seconds up by the middle sector as he crosses the line to go P1 for now with a 30.6. So that's much more like it.
That's just 4/10 off the time, top time set in this session last year, not pole, but in the qualifying session. That is a very competitive time. Down in 10th, well, below 10th, we've got both of the Porsche Penske Motorsport cars, both of the Cadillacs. Antonio Giovinazzi at the moment on the bubble.
Yeah, down in 11th place, but flying around there as his teammate as well. Down in 18th, Antonio Fuoco, last year's pole position man when it came to Hyperpole this time last year. But both Ferraris obviously outside of that area right now. So now Giovinazzi in car 51 hugs the inside wall of the final corner and passes the line now to go P1.
But from nowhere to now 3rd and 4th, both of the factory Porsches, 6 and 5. Both the Ferraris now top the session. It's Giovinazzi from Fuoco.
Toyota car number 8 went from outside of the top 10 to go P3.
And Marco Sorensen has gone from 2nd to in the drop zone in 009.
Now it's Nick de Vries's turn, so car number 8 has done it. What can de Vries do? Tyres at the right level. This is what his engineer wanted. To go P4 for now, he's safe.
007 Aston also gets bumped out as the Proton Porsche 99 jumps in, but is on the bubble. One of the Peugeots is in, the 94 car, both Toyotas, 2 of the 3 Ferraris, both Porsches, surprising.
Van Tor goes second, he's safe. And in a 1:30.375, tiny gaps behind.
That's
a big wiggle.
Yeah, he lost the rears. He just turned into the right there of the Villeneuve chicane. And it looked like a pretty decent lap up to that point.
Meanwhile, who's down in 18th? The number 50 Ferrari had his lap deleted. So too has the 93 Peugeot of Jean-Eric Verne, but Antonio Fuoco has gone to the back of the field.
And he's got this lap deleted as well, so there's trouble here for Fuoco potentially. He's got to deliver right at the death of this session to get the car into Hyperpole.
Cadillac, Alex Lynn, 10th place at the moment, 1.27 seconds back. Sebastian Bourdais in the 38 car.
Yeah, not enough for Bourdais right now, only P14. Robin Freins, P15. So there is Bourdais in the number 38 Cadillac, just taking a bit of a breather. 2.5 minutes to go of the session.
Giovinazzi has pitted the car topping the session at the moment. the 51 AF Corsa Ferrari. 2.5 minutes to go, and Fuoco starts another lap.
And the repaired 83, the yellow Ferrari, is second ahead of Dries Vanthoor, and the Toyotas 4th and 5th.
Robin Frijns through the final couple of corners of Ravazza 1 and 2. He's only 4 tenths down, but the lap has been deleted as well. Track limits.
Exit of Ravazza.
Fuoco, with 2 minutes to go, is up on the provisional session topping time. The moment he sits in 18th place, it's got to be clean.
Now we're seeing a replay of Variante Alta. Both in and out of Variante Alta are watched tightly. So is the exit here, running too wide out of Acqua Minerale.
He's got a bit of traffic. He's flashing the car in front of the slower moving Sebastian Bourdais, I believe, who's on a bit of a cool down. Yeah, he does the right thing, he's out of the way. But this is tense stuff for Fuoco. Another car in front of him as they head down towards the Ravazza corners. It's the number 8 Toyota. Again, well spotted by Ryo Hirakawa. Frees up these 2 critical corners for Fuoco. He has to get this right. He has to stay within track limits. It's now or never for the Italian in the Italian car. As he heads to the line, will it be enough? It is just enough. He goes P3 from 18th. That was tense moments there for Fuoco.
Let's take a look again at Variante Alta. This is where a lot of the laps are being lost.
You're right, because it's so tempting to gain lap time throwing the car over the inside curb there.
This is where the bubble matters, and dropping out with Fuoco improving. Of the top 10, Julian Anlar and the number 5 Porsche. Behind that, Proton at the moment out of it. Both the Aston Martins, the 38 Caddy, the 20 BMW, the 36 Alpine, the 93 Peugeot at the moment have not yet made Hyperpole.
One car in the pit lane, that's 15 BMW, because the number 51 Ferrari has gone back out. What about the Aston Martins? 15th and 14th place. We might see an improvement in time. We're not going to see a big jump. 36 Alpine, 7th place. Mick Schumacher's got that car in. Both Alpines are in the top 10. Number 12 Caddy, Alex Lynn, in the drop zone.
1 minute 30.8, the Hyperpole target for Harry Tignall crosses the line. P15 does not make it.
That was a change with Mick Schumacher making his way into the top 10 and dropping the 11 Peugeot out. So Charles Malaysi in the 35 car with the checkered flag out is now 10th and on the bubble.
Jean-Eric Verne, you can see the bottom left of your screen, doesn't make it through. So close, only P11.
On board with Bourdais, there he is, coming to the line, checkered flags out. Is it enough to go from last into Hyperpole? No.
It is not.
Yeah, lost too much from the tyres now, and that was the problem. You know, the drivers making mistakes, running too wide, getting laps deleted earlier on in the session. You've got nothing left by the end.
Question around the number 15 BMW as we watch the number 20. Not quite sure why the 51 Ferrari's gone around again. I don't think he took the checkered flag last time, but they sent him out of the pit lane maybe to just try something. 15 BMW being investigated for pit lane speeding, and if he has sped in the pit lane, it will delete times.
Harry Tignall at the wheel here, the Aston Martin giving it absolutely everything he can down in P17 at this point. It's the 2 Aston Martins right at the back, 17th, 18th. It's on a personal best. He's only a second away by that middle sector, but that is of the Hyperpole target of the 30.7. It looked like there's no more he could do on that lap that I saw.
It's a fabulous sounding thing, but it does look a bit of a handful from on board, Anthony.
You know, the drivers are really fighting this new car. They're all learning as a team and as driver car crews as well. So, yeah, it looks pretty, it sounds pretty, but they want some more lap time from it, and it's not going to come easily. It's a tough competition here in the World Endurance Championship these days.
So that was the last car that could have possibly improved. It is going to be in this session. Remember, this is not for pole position. It is the top 10 moving through to Hyperpole. The top 3 cars are, on a banner day for the locals, it is the 3 Ferraris. What a performance from the 83 AF Corsa Ferrari crew. A car that had its rear end basically completely rebuilt in the, 2.5 hours since we saw this car in Free Practice 3?
Yeah, it was a very expensive barbecue the last time we saw it.
Now, in the end, neither Peugeot made it through into Hyperpole, which they both looked like they might have done. They didn't quite have that edge. Number 5, Penske Porsche, 20 BMW, the 99 Proton Porsche, 38 Sebastian Bourdais didn't get that lap in for Cadillac, and neither of the Astons made it through. There's Robin Freins with René Rast.
To give you an idea, though, of the margins here, you said correctly, both of those Peugeots did not make it in, but the combined gap between those two Peugeots to the 10th place car in this session was less than a tenth of a second. That's how tight this now is.
If you want to play with the big dogs, then
wow,
you are going to be, every hundredth of a second is going to be vital. As we saw in free practice 2 yesterday, two cars tied to the 1,000th of a second on lap time, and not from the same team. 2 different cars, 2 different manufacturers.
And now it gets interesting, though. So they've had a feel for the medium tyres on the cars, and they've got the balance just where they want it, or close to where they want it, from all 3 practice sessions and this. Now you have to run all 4 soft tyres in Hyperpole, and that can play havoc when it comes to driver prep, team prep. You heard from Nick de Vries's engineer how on it they are in terms of where they need the tyre temperatures to open their lap. What's it going to be like when they put the soft tyres on, and whose car is going to perform the best?
We've just seen a change, and it is drama for the 50 car. It's out of Hyperpole.
Oh, no.
Lap 6 under investigation, and that puts the number 93 Peugeot into 10th place in this session. So the change has just come on our timing screens. It looks like it's a track limits investigation for the number 50 car, and that has made the change. The 50 car looks to be out of Hyperpole.
Well, they're polishing up and getting ready to go, so that is obviously just coming through to them. I was just about to say, as we look down on the 2 Alpine, they're the only French cars who've made it through, but 1 Peugeot now does, and Stoffel van Dorn, I beg your pardon, Jean-Eric Verne will have to get back into the number 93 Peugeot. So 93 does make it through. They've been promoted as the number 50 Ferrari goes from first to last.
So where was that track limits? We believe it was track limits violation. It might have been at that top chicane, you know, at turn 15, the left-hand part, where it looked like...
Its final flying lap, it was.
Yeah,
so
lap
yes.
6.
Yeah.
So that, and you know, when we saw the slow-mo of him, we commented how much curb you take. I wonder if it was that moment where he just dipped 2 wheels into the right wheels inside that white line.
I am with Stoffel van Dorn on the car number 94. Sorry, 93 just went through into quali, so you ended up just last car before Hyperpole, which is not so bad. The car seemed working well in FP3, and how was it just now?
Yeah, it's been quite okay, to be honest. We knew it was going to be or require everything we needed to make it to Hyperpole. We came, I think, only a couple of hundredths short to make it, but we know that's kind of in the position we are at the moment. Lap was okay. Yeah, I mean, you can always say, okay, could have gained a few hundreds here and there. So it's a shame to miss out on that, but yeah, we'll fight from there, and hopefully we can score some points tomorrow.
Excellent. Good luck for tomorrow.
Thank you.
So Antonio Fuoco still in the number 50 Ferrari. There it is on the apron. They are still waiting to release him, but he has been excluded. It was exit of corner 15, we're hearing.
That was marginal.
And that is, no, it's exit on Variante Alta. So it's as he runs out wide, he's run out too wide.
They'll be waiting for confirmation. They've clearly just got it. The car is going on the dollies. It's out of Hyperpole. And that's it for the day for the 50. You could see the body language there.
And you say the day, that might have ruined their day tomorrow as well. Knowing what we know about this circuit being such a tough one to overtake, and to stay out of trouble on lap 1, heading towards the first couple of corners, as we saw last year, lots of chaos there. That is, well, that's a big blow for car 50.
And remember, it's not just out of Hyperpole, it's the back of the hypercar order. And because we're in this platinum age, that's a lot of cars to try to get past.
Yep.
And a track that is not easy to overtake.
They will start 18th with both Aston Martins in front. So he's going to have to make sure he avoids what is likely to be a fairly major debris field. Miguel Molina, not a happy bunny either. Not sure what the Spanish for happy bunny is, but he ain't that.
Well, you all ride through the ups and the downs as a car crew together, and you feel each other's pain. You know that as frustrated as you are at your fellow driver for making that mistake, you know at any time it can be you. And today it was Fuoco's misery, and the rest of the team are impacted by that. But, you know, they're having to push each other hard. 3 Ferraris up the top. There were 3 Ferraris up the top, and therefore every millisecond counts.
Well, the other thing to mention here is, again, it's about those margins. I think I'm right. Only 2 teams have got both of their cars through to Hyperpole, and those 2 teams are Toyota Gazoo Racing and Alpine Endurance Team. Yes, we've got 2 Ferraris, but it's 1 factory car and the privateer car that's through. Dramas galore here.
100%, and neither Porsche made it through in the end. Oh no, one of the Porsches did, Kevin Escher in the number 6 car. So that's perhaps a little bit performing outside what we'd seen from the Penske team in free practice, but yeah, if you can lay it on the line, and Escher is a man who lays it on the line.
We've got a delay for at least 2 minutes, we're hearing. Not sure why. I'm guessing that's going to be a bit of a clear-up. We've got a few off-track moments, and they're likely to want to get the track completely clean.
We are targeting to start Hyperpole at 15:32. We are targeting to start Hyperpole at 15:32.
I'm indebted to Shay Adam for her phonetic Spanish of what Happy Bunny is.
And what is that?
Contento Conejo.
She's amazing.
Yeah, there you go. And she will be joining us for our Le Mans coverage, the 24 Hours of Le Mans. We double the size of our team. That doesn't mean we just feed ourselves with more pizza.
1 minute to start Hyperpole for hypercars. 1 minute to start Hyperpole for hypercars.
And again, you can imagine there's going to be a little bit of fun, full access coverage of these moments in the Ferrari garage as well. The drivers and the teams are all well aware that our Fly on the Wall documentary team are around and about, but yeah, I think they're quite happy with that, and they don't mind that actual natural human reaction gets caught on camera.
30 seconds to start Hyperpole for hypercars.
So remember, just 10 minutes to make it count here, and now the pressure is really on.
Well, it's slightly off of Antonio Giovinazzi, because he's thinking, that's 1 down. That's 1 threat out my way. Now I'm just looking at Robert Kubica in the number 83 Ferrari. But like I said...
Hyperpole starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pit exit is now open. Hyperpole has started.
So cars heading out on track. 10 fastest cars from the group qualifying stage go through into Hyperpole, and because there are fewer cars and the pressure's on and it's all about pole, we give them less time in which to perform. So 10 minutes only, and that's not 10 minutes of fast laps, that's 10 minutes from the moment the pit lane opens until the checkered flag comes out. So we saw cars with medium tyres on, and it's a slight confusion for Anthony Davidson, because we thought that the rule was in Hyperpole you used the softest tyre available. Maybe Michelin have said the soft isn't going to be an option, and so everybody's using mediums.
That's the only thing I can think. Yeah. So yeah, you can clearly see the yellow sidewall tyres on everywhere. That seems to be the tyre of choice, and you never know, maybe Michelin have stipulated that for this event you're running the medium tyres.
Well, it could have come the other way. The teams could have been saying, really, I'm not sure that the soft is going to be the tyre that's going to work in qualifying. Can we just use the medium? And if everybody's happy with that, then yes. I mean, as a tyre manufacturer, you try, but then they would need enough of a supply of mediums to be able to do that. That's another 40 medium tyres that they might not have expected to bring. So, yeah.
Well, that makes it more predictable then, doesn't it? So forget all the hype from before and how people's cars react on a soft tyre.
We might as well have been talking about TV documentary programmes at lunchtime for all the intrigue that we worked ourselves into. None of it has come to pass.
Well, what we're not going to see in this session is the result we saw last year. It's not going to be a Ferrari 1-2-3 as we got at Imola last season. Top time in Hyperpole, as Ant, I think, said earlier in the programme, 1:29.466 from the number 50 car, and that car is not going to feature in the now 8 minutes of track action we've got remaining in Hyperpole.
So 2 push laps again, two warm-up laps again in all likelihood. Vincent Vos has already gone for the cap. He's gone for the cap early. The boss of WRT, Hertz racing team that runs these BMWs, the Hypercar and the LMGT3 program. So these first couple of timed laps aren't really necessarily going to give us much of an indication, because a lot of it will be about bringing tyres into temperature, getting them up to the sort of 75, 85 degree range where they're going to start to really yield the grip. And the drivers have to be doubly cautious not to overextend themselves, overreach themselves on tyres that aren't up to temperature. First of all, because there's nowhere to go if you run out of road, and the runoff area after several days of consistent rain this week, they're very fast, very greasy, quick outfield. And secondly, if you start locking tyres up, these are the tyres you're going to do the session on. You have no get out of jail free card, so if you ruin the tyres by locking the car's wheels, then you severely compromise your qualifying. Jean Verne weaving across the line in the 93 Peugeot.
A lap that a few moments ago he didn't think he'd be driving, so all a bonus from this point on for Jean-Eric Verne and the car number 93 crew. Riding on board with Hertz Team Jota, Alex Lynn, P4 for now in Hyperpole.
We're somewhat 7 seconds off where you might reasonably expect a decent Hyperpole time to be. 6-7 seconds away from that. So where's the drama going to be here? Where are the headlines going to be here? Is it going to be one of the two cars that might not have made it to this afternoon?
Worth pointing out that the 93 Peugeot and the 94 Peugeot, in their current with a rear wing, guys, had never made Hyperpole before. Both cars made Hyperpole. They finished 6th and 10th in qualifying in Qatar last year, but that was the last race for the wingless Wonder. So they didn't make it through. This is the first time Gen 2 Peugeot has made it through into Hyperpole. Unless, of course, I'm talking nonsense, in which case answers on a postcard. Jean-Eric Verne currently with the fastest lap, on board with Mick Schumacher in the Alpine, and both of those cars making it through.
I'll explain the confusion. The regulations, as published, did indeed say they should use the softest tyre, but there's been an amendment to those regulations. It now says that the tyre for Hyperpole will be specified in the appendix prior to the race meeting.
So I was right. They've just changed it without anyone knowing.
It's extremely important to Ant Davidson that we tell him he's right, and it's his birthday, so you're right.
No, that was yesterday. I was right yesterday.
Anthony, as I often say, if I accidentally get something correct, even a stopped clock is right twice a day.
Well, I mean, what's the point of reading the rule book? Honestly, sometimes I give up.
Read the appendix and the supplementary sporting regulations.
Okay, I'll go back to school.
Anyway, 4.5 minutes to go in this Hyperpole session. This is where the times are going to really come. So, Jean-Eric Verne, fastest at the moment, but with not a competitive lap. His first sector is already a second and a half quicker on schedule as we watch one of the Totas start under a flyer. 6th to 1st for Ryo Hirakawa, and that's a 1:35.6, still not a competitive lap time.
Giovinazzi's on it once again, fastest in the previous session, fastest so far on this lap, but he currently sits P10. So yeah, stonking first sector.
Just kept it legal out of Tosa. Keeping wheels inside the white line. Down the hill comes Dries van Tor into Ravazza. That's the car shown on the left on the bottom of your screen, currently 3rd fastest. 2.5 seconds quicker. Mick Schumacher is the similar distance.
Yeah, speaking of Schumacher, lap deleted for track limits.
Clean one for Van Tor, faster by 5.8 seconds. Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, that looked good from Antonio Giovinazzi through the top chicane. Yeah, fastest of all so far. 2.9 seconds, gone to 3.5 tenths up on the fastest lap that's just been set by Dries van Tor, of course. So close to track limits on the exit of Ravazza 2, but keeps it within that white line. And a clean run through that final kink to the right-hand side. Is it enough for Giovinazzi? Yes, it is for now. 5 tenths up, and Collado, his teammate, watches on.
A 10th quicker than pole time last year for the sister car. So 1:29.360. Number 8, Tota on a flyer as well. They're all on a flyer, with the exception of Kevin Estra, who's on a bit of a cool-down lap, I think.
Yeah, Rio Hirakawa, here we go. We pick him up towards the Tamburello chicane. Turn 2, turn 3, flick the car right, then again to the left. You see how the body language of the car changes. A slight roll to the right-hand side. You feel that G-force as well from inside it. So you tip it into the Villeneuve chicane. He's done a personal best through that first sector, a 10.5 down only. So it's still up for grabs here for Hirakawa, and his team watches on.
Yeah, the team want to see the car, the same as us.
Yeah.
That's the gesticulation. Oh, come on, show us the car!
And here is the car, up and over the crest to Piratella. Giovinazzi, meanwhile, going faster again.
Schumacher, or is that, no, that is, yeah, 35 is Charles actually bailing and straight line in the gravel trap at Tamburello.
Meantime, Robert Kubica goes second in the 83 Ferrari. So it is an all-Ferrari front row as things stand, with 100 seconds to go before the checkered flag comes out.
Really close for Robert Kubica on this particular lap, but look at the lap from Giovinazzi. Here once again improving all the time. Another 4.5 tenths there in the pocket.
Raising the
Collado,
bar.
I think Collado thinks that's enough.
1:28.9, under 1:29 now. And that is some qualifying lap.
It's going to need some heroic effort from these two here, Hirakawa and Kubica. First up, Hirakawa, 1.1 down, though, lost some time there. And now Kubica.
Shaved the pit wall and comes across the line, lap cancelled, and that was in sector 3. So that was exit of Ravazza as well.
So half a second quicker than the pole position time last year. That's the mark of the improvement we've seen from these Ferraris in one single season.
Slowing down, Alex Lynn. What a great story it would be for the team if he could put this car on the front row of the grid, and it has got the potential pace. Caddies were in with the Ferraris, but
He's got 30 seconds to get around start-finish. I don't think he's going to quite do that.
Is Kubica going to get another one after this? Half a minute from Variante Alta.
Well, I mean, he'll be allowed to finish this lap, of course. It wasn't a personal best for him in the first sector, but still only 1.5 tenths down. Comes to the second sector, half a second down. So yeah, the tyres have seen their best, I feel, and we're not seeing any personal best as well at this point. So yeah, I think Giovinazzi, maybe don't want to speak too soon. I know anything can happen, but I don't think this threat's going to come from Kubica on this particular lap.
No, Robert Kubica looks like the yellow car will start on the outside of the front row of the grid. Row 2, Dries van Tor third fastest, has parked the car. So Kubica is going to take it all the way to the line just to try and make sure maybe that Rio Hirakawa can't get near to him. Takes the checkered flag and remains second place.
He actually improves his time on that lap.
Yeah. Close to within 3/4 of a second of pole.
And remember, that's a team with a rebuilt car that want every lap they can at the moment. Nick de Vries. He pits the car.
Wasn't enough in the first 2 sectors, but Kubica did improve his final sector at least, and yeah, put right what happened earlier on when the lap was deleted at least. So yeah, 2 Ferraris at the top. They're missing their third one, but yeah, a great day for Giovinazzi. That was some impressive driving once again.
So a Ferrari front row lockout, BMW third, Toyota Gazoo Racing here, 4th and 5th. That's impressive. That's a promising qualifying pace. They should have good race pace. 6th position, the best of the 3 French cars, 36 Alpine, ahead of the 93 Peugeot and the 35 Alpine. Cadillac Hertz Team Jota, car number 12, Alex Lynn, was 9th, and Kevin Est, 10th place for Porsche Penske Motorsport with car number 6. But yeah, James Collado, he knew, didn't he? Boy, okay, I'm getting up and getting ready to go and congratulate Antonio Giovinazzi, because no one's going to get close to that.
Well, I think the only person that could have potentially got close to that was Antonio Fuoco.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, starting this session, he already knew his main competition was out of the way.
Pole position, Joey. Pole position.
Okay, good.
We keep tomorrow. The car was fantastic. Thank you.
Amazing lap. 7/10 in front of P2.
It was Gio on pole at Qatar as well, was it not?
Jovi, yeah. Was that clean, Jovi? Yes, it was clean. Well, I'm afraid then that is pole position. That was the radio message in Qatar. So that's 2 for 2 for Antonio Giovinazzi. Captain Hyperpole.
He doesn't want to get out, he's enjoyed it so much.
He's busy debriefing on the radio. That is impressive stuff, and as you say, Antonio Fuoco could have been right in the mix. We could have had an all-red front row. That's an interesting battle as the season goes on. Fuoco versus Giovinazzi.
I'm surprised we saw so many track limit violations actually on this old school racetrack, and they put a lot of gravel closer to the edge of the curbs, and the calculations have been made for Formula One, so maybe slightly different dimensions of these cars. I understand the GTs, they often use a lot more of the racetrack than hypercars, but yeah, clearly Hypercar going in that direction. They're heavier cars now, of course. Now they're full hybrid, but I would have thought that we would have seen slightly less of that going on today.
I think the problem is that the most likely place is when you've really ramped it over the curbs in Variante Alta. 14-15, they're watching the way in and the way out, all the way through that chicane. And yeah, if you really monster the curb and the car takes off and just lands a bit squirrely, you can gather it up without venturing onto the grass, but maybe not with all your wheels still within the white lines.
Well, just doing the set dressing for celebration of this qualifying session. The Hyperpole session's complete. It is this crew and that man, Valentino Rossi, that's at pole position in LMGT3, and it's that crew and the man that's in the car is on pole position in Hypercar.
And stay tuned, Hyperpole may not yet be over for LMGT3 because the 95 McLaren is under investigation for maximum power. Now, each of the cars has torque meters on to measure their power output, and so that might be a penalty coming their way. Ferrari AF Corsa, car number 51 on pole with Antonio Giovinazzi and Robert Kubica putting the 83, the yellow Ferrari second. Row 2 will be BMW and Toyota, Toyota and Alpine ahead of Peugeot and Alpine, Cadillac and Porsche. Those were the qualifying top 10, and everybody outside the 10, 11th down to 18th. Where you finish the first session is where you will start the race. And so these guys know that their teammates will start last in Hypercar. And they will start in the safest place, Anthony. And actually, that sounds really negative and sort of overly cautious, but Imola's Imola. The run down to Tamburello has all sorts of fraught possibilities. And
well, we saw it last year, didn't we? We definitely saw it last year. Lots of contact, brought out an early full course yellow and safety car. So you don't want to be in that situation. You want to be out in the front. It is the safest place to be, the best place to be, eyes forward, clean track, and you can brake where you want. And the only worry comes from the threat from behind, someone potentially locking up always, but you have a bit more room around you. So yeah, great position for 51 car crew and the 83 as well. It is a long race. We're going to see some action. We're going to see, you know, we've seen it all the way through this weekend so far with thrills and spills. So I am fully expecting a lot of safety car action, full course yellows, all of that will come their way. But they're in the they've given themselves, by doing this today, the best possible chance of making it through unscathed.
Start clean and hopefully stay clean. Same too for Italy's hero Valentino Rossi. We have two Italians on pole position. Valentino Rossi and Antonio Giovinazzi earning their stripes. James Collado closest to us, Alessandro Pierguidi in the middle. They went off to offer their congratulations to the mechanics as well. And Antonella Coletta, the head of the program there. And yeah, good job all round. Ferrari looking strong here in Italy. They were not the winners here last year, though.
Hello everyone, and we are down here next to the pole sitter in GT3, Valentino Rossi. Big congratulations, fantastic pole position at home for you.
Yes, it's a great pleasure. It's a special day here in Imola. First pole position for us in front of all the crowd. And I have to say thank you to all the team and to BMW because we improve a lot compared to the first race. So we will see for tomorrow.
A big congratulations and also a big thank you to your teammate, Ahmad, who did a great job. We spoke to you earlier. You must be delighted to have passed on the car.
Absolutely, you know, amazing for Vali to be at his home race. And I said before, Imola has been so kind to me, so hopefully we have a strong show tomorrow.
And Sheldon, a little word with you. You had an easy one so far, but you have the weekend to push tomorrow.
Yeah, Saturdays are quite easy for me in the WEC. I don't have to do the hard job like these two, but tomorrow I'll do some more running and hopefully it'll be enough for the top step.
Excellent. Well, congratulations. Enjoy the moment for now. And we're going to have the medals presented by Jean-Baptiste Casta, head of motorsport at Rolex, who's presenting the Hyperpole trophy medal.
E dopo le interviste di rito, ecco le medaglie per l'Hyperpole Man Valentino Rossi da Rolex, il CEO di questo brand che da sempre legato al mondo del motorsport. E poi anche per Ahmad bravo nelle qualifiche, poi ovviamente a Kevin Van der Linde che in gara avrà il compito di lottare fino alla fine per trovare anche la vittoria dopo il primo podio proprio un anno fa per questo equipaggio.
Allora io e Nicola Milani vi salutiamo e vi lasciamo anche le interviste poi dell'Hyperpole della classe arriva anche l'Hyperpole più davanti a tutti. Stasera con sta pole position del dottore proprio qui.
And we're gonna carry on with the hypercar category. Antonio Giovinazzi, please, James Calado and Alessandro Pierguidi, congratulations. Please come forward a little bit. Second pole position of the year, Qatar, and now again here, super strong. Congratulations, you must be feeling really strong at the moment.
Sì, intanto grazie a tutti, è sempre bello essere qui a casa e festeggiare una pole insieme. It was a good lap. I think the car was fantastic, you know, just amazing. We did a great job since FP1, and yeah, I just want to, you know, finish the job tomorrow. Is the day where we will score points. For now, we enjoy the moment for sure, but we will full focus for tomorrow race. It will be a long race. We have a good pace, so yeah, let's finish the job tomorrow.
Again, congratulations for this very strong lap. Alessandro, a little word from you. Were you stressed during the lap, or were you easy and relaxed like James? Because James looked really relaxed on the chair.
No, to be honest, I was quite relaxed. I was confident on Jovi's job. I was watching the onboard. It was a very nice lap. To be honest, it's the second time in a row did an amazing lap, and we secured the pole. So congrats to Jovi that the lap was incredible.
Thank you very much and congratulations. James, a little word? Yeah, you seemed cool and relaxed in front of the TV.
I mean, I have full faith in our teammates, and that was an unbelievable lap. I think this Italian crowd is helping us a lot, so grazie, and we'll do the job tomorrow. We'll try our best.
Excellent. Well, now it's time for the medals. Please, again, Jean-Baptiste Casta, head of Rolex Motorsport, presenting the medals and the Rolex medals for the Hyperpole ceremony. Au revoir. That's it for now and for today. So a quick goodbye from the commentators and myself, and we're going to be live tomorrow at 12:30, on air at 12:30, and the beginning of the race at 1 CET, which is GMT. Please don't miss the race. It's going to be tough. It's going to be pushing hard between Ferrari and all the other contenders. Again, thank you and goodbye.